Professor, thanks for joining us here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Good morning. Glad to be with you.
You gotcha. So initially, this ruling only affects Texas, correct?
That's correct. The actual bottom line is to strike down the Texas law, but it sets a standard that will now have to be applied in many other states, including Missouri.
So let's talk about Texas just for a moment, and then we'll get to the rest of the place. So when does the law change? Is it instantaneously, or all of a sudden all those restrictive laws now gone, and these abortion clinics can reopen without those restrictions?
The courts in Texas will have to wait to actually get a piece of paper from the Supreme Court that says the Texas law is invalid, and then they'll have to have some subsequent hearings, but it shouldn't take a long time in Texas.
Yeah. Justice Kennedy, I guess, was the swing vote. Were you surprised by his vote and what happened there?
I was surprised that he went along with such a strongly pro-abortion opinion. I thought he would probably vote to strike down the Texas law, but I thought it might be a lot narrower than it was.
Justice Ginsburg, as you said, went out and said these restrictive covenants will never fly, basically, right? I mean, she was very emphatic in her opinion.
Right. She was sending this strong message to all the other states saying, you can't pass these abortion restrictions. Our message is loud and clear to you. Now, I don't know that that's true of Justice Kennedy's vote. But she was trying to send a signal.
Yeah, but he did sign on to her argument, did he not?
Well, her separate opinion was not signed by everybody.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
That little message that she sent was not joined by the whole court.
As the three who voted to uphold these restrictive laws in Texas, what was their argument?
They believe that the court has set a clear standard for when the states can pass abortion restrictions, and that the court was really departing significantly from that standard, that when the states say they want to protect the woman's health, the court ought to give strong deference to that claim by the states. But that's the thing that the majority rejected most strongly.
Yeah. All right. So now other states, including Missouri, which has very similar laws, what happens to those laws here in Missouri?
Well, because what the Supreme Court basically said is when a state claims it's protecting a woman's health, but at the same time it's restricting access to abortion, the state is going to have to justify those claims of protecting women's health. So in every state, they're going to have to go back into court, and the state is going to have to now go in and try to present evidence of why this law or that law is protecting a woman's health, and the other side will come in and say, no, it's not, it's just restricting access to abortion. And each one in every state is going to really have to be decided in the lower courts from scratch.
It sounds like a logistical nightmare because they could play this game all day long.
This could go on for quite a while. I would look for litigation that lasts for, a year in some instances in different states.
Right.
I think the pro-abortion organizations will try to get this done quickly because they want to block the state laws as quickly as possible, but the states can say, hey, we need time to gather the evidence, we've got to have time to put on our case, so it could be a while.
But isn't it interesting that what's health-related for a woman is written by elected officials and judged by judges, and doctors aren't necessarily the final say in all of this?
I think that's a really important observation. The Supreme Court felt clearly, the majority yesterday felt clearly that they benefited from briefs that were filed by many medical organizations. There was the majority opinion refers to a brief filed by a hospital association that talks about how the requirement that abortion clinics be like surgical centers, how that actually works in hospitals and so on. So they get some information, but they have to take it as it's presented to them. The doctors aren't deciding the cases.
Yeah. Steve Wormel is with the American University Washington School of Law on the Supreme Court ruling yesterday. Professor, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. 7:24 here. Big Five.